Welcome back, sinners. The boy standing by the crematory. The flames burned low like the sun going down. A Japanese boy waiting in line at the crematorium with his deceased baby brother on his back. Nagasaki, 1945. Joe O'Donnell was a United States Marine Corps photographer who documented the aftermath of the atomic bombing of Nagasaki. His powerful images, including the iconic "The Boy Standing by the Crematory," provide a haunting glimpse into the devastation caused by the war. In his own words, "I saw a boy about 10 years old walking by. He was carrying a baby on his back. In those days in Japan, we often saw children playing with their little brothers or sisters on their backs. But this boy was clearly different. It was seen that he had come to this place for a serious reason. He was wearing no shoes, his face was hard. The little head was flipped back as if the baby were fast asleep. The boy stood there for 5 or 10 minutes. The men in white masks walked over to him and quietly began to take off the rope that was holding the baby. That is when it was revealed that the baby was already dead. The men held the body by the hands and feet and placed it on the fire. The boy stood there straight, without moving, watching the flames. He was biting his lips so hard that it shone with blood. The flames burned low like the sun going down. The boy turned around and walked away silently. The boy's image has become a powerful symbol of the human cost of war, and his identity remains a mystery that continues to intrigue and sadden people around the world.
About a photograph called "A Boy Standing by the Crematory."
I think I've seen that one.
It's this young Japanese boy, probably around 10, standing there with his baby brother's body. It's taken in Nagasaki right after the bombing.
Right. August 1945. I mean, we're talking about utter devastation, tens of thousands dead. Joe O'Donnell, the photographer who took it, he was a U.S. Marine. His photos from Nagasaki, they're tough to look at, but so important. They don't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, it's hard to even imagine, going through something like that. And they quote O'Donnell's description of that day. He talks about seeing this boy walking up barefoot, this just completely hardened look on his face, carrying his little brother on his back.
O'Donnell actually mentions that in his writing, how Japanese kids would often play that way, carrying each other on their backs. But he said this was different, you could just tell. The boy's posture, the way he held himself, it was like he was carrying something sacred.
It's brutal. And the way Sin tells it, it just gets worse. Those workers at the crematorium, they're wearing masks, and they take the baby from the boy's back. The boy, he doesn't even react, really. Just stands there and watches them put his brother's body into the fire. And get this, Sin says the boy didn't cry, but he was biting his lips so hard it bled.
Man, trying to hold it all in. Can you imagine? That level of grief, that young, it reminds you, like you were saying, about the human cost, the individual stories that numbers can't really capture.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, we say 70,000 people, but that's 70,000 individual lives, families, stories just gone.
Snapped away.
And then Sin adds this detail. It's almost beautiful in a way how sad it is. They say that as the sun was setting, like casting these long shadows over everything in Nagasaki, the flames in the crematorium were also burning low.
Whoa. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like this visual representation of the whole thing. The end of the day mirroring the end of a life. Man. No, that's powerful. O'Donnell captured something there. It sticks with you. Makes you think about life going on, even after something that awful.
And it makes you think about that boy, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know anything else about him. Who he was, where he went, if he survived the aftermath even. His story's unfinished, but still, it makes you remember all the others, all the people who've been through something like that. innocent people caught in the middle of something so much bigger than them.
It's a reminder to us all, isn't it? Even when the fighting's done, the effects, what it does to people, it lasts, it echoes.
It really does.
Thanks for bringing this one up. Stories like this, they're important to remember, even if they're hard to hear.